Hi everyone. So today I have with me Harshika, who scored AI 22 in CA Inter with a whooping score of 623. Congratulations, Harshika. That's an amazing score. I'm sure you feel great, but I want to know, how did you feel like when you first saw the score and then the AIR? Were you expecting the AIR?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your kind words and giving me this opportunity to talk here. About my first feeling, there are many students who, on the basis of their preparation and what they write in the exams, feel कि yeah, we might score an AIR. But that was not the case with me. I only completed my portion like 1.5 months before the exam. My only aim was to score an exemption at max and clear both the groups in first attempt itself. I was not in that state of mind to wait for next 6 months and give an exam again. A score of 623 and those two pass words, pass under
Yeah.
both the groups, that left me in an awe. I was like on top of the world on seeing that. I did not even bother to check कि कौन से subject में कितने marks आए हैं. I was like pass हो गए. And then I was like, let's give it a try on that link for the checking your merit rank. And
Yeah.
when I put my roll number, a screen popped and that showed AIR 22. That was a jaw-dropping moment for me. I was numb for 2 minutes, not in a
I'm
condition to
sure.
talk to anyone, and I felt really, really happy. It was overwhelming. Some of
You
them even did not believe. Like my parents were like, "It is your result. Is it your result?" They were like that.
Well, when you used to come to class, I was very, very sure that, I always used to feel you're very close to rank. So if you put in that extra mile, then you will get the rank. So honestly, when you told me, I was like, yes, I knew that she's going to get a rank. So I was not very surprised that you've got a rank, because I was kind of expecting you to get a rank, because the way you were in class, I thought you would get a rank. So and what would you suggest, or what are the tips that you would give to the students who are appearing for May 23, November 23? What are your tips generally for the entire preparation? What do you think that, after your experience, what are the things that they should keep in mind when they're giving their examination?
One generic tip, like what I could give, is a strategic study kind of a thing. Without a plan, nothing works. We feel like we are directionless, and when that feeling sinks in, everything goes haywire. Like we do not know what to study, when to study, and how much time we have to allot. For someone who's giving CA Inter for the first time, they have only a period of 10 months, 10 to
Correct.
11 months from foundation. So
Correct.
in that we need to cover up the portion and allocate at least 3 months of self-study and plan for 2 to 3 revisions. That
Correct.
is what I did. And in order to do that, we need a plan. We need a plan for 3 months. We need
Correct.
a plan for each month. And in order to divide and make sure that each subject is given that amount of time which it deserves, I used to break up everything into per day, and I used to allocate my entire schedule on that basis of 2 to 3 hours and make sure that each topic that I'm studying for the first time, I do an in-depth analysis कि हाँ इसको कितना time देना है, so that I do not spend my unnecessary time on a topic which does not require so much of time, and I do not have to leave any topic
Correct.
unread at all.
Correct.
So this helped me to solve that time management problem which most of us face while preparing for the CA Inter
Correct.
exam.
Correct.
And for subjects like practical subject, when I used to solve a sum, I used to give it a rank. Like this is an L1 sum, that is the level one sum, which is the most difficult, and going down L1, L2, and L3
Okay.
based on on how difficult it is. So
Correct.
that the L3 sum, which is not so difficult, I do not resolve it again and again in the second revision or the third revision. But
Understood.
on the exam day, before 1 day before the exam, we get a 1.5 day
Correct.
before the exam.
Yeah.
So on that day, I made sure that I go through each and every sum and solve that L1 sum on pen and paper at
Okay.
least
That's a
for
very
subjects
good
like
tip.
accounts,
Correct.
advanced accounts, and costing,
Correct.
costing FM.
Correct. Correct. That's a brilliant tip, because then that ways you are not just solving the easy sums, you know which sums you have to focus on, and before the exam day you're doing the tough sums as well. And
Yes.
so before your examination, like if my exam is say in May 23, like when should you start doing your second or third revision as per your schedule?
I completed my portion on 17th August, I remember,
Okay.
full portion of studying. So I planned that by from 17 to 2nd September, I completed my group 1 ka first revision.
Okay.
And I did it group wise because I completed my study that way. So
Correct.
I thought studying it group wise would at least make sure that मैंने जो पहले सबसे पहले पढ़ा हुआ है, I can revise that
Revise.
first and
Correct.
then revise something that was freshly read.
Correct.
And then I took the group 2 revision, which took a bit longer than what I expected. So
Okay.
by 30th September itself, I had completed my first revision entirely.
Okay.
And October 15 days, I completed my second revision. And next 15 days, I completed third revision for few subjects. And for few subjects, I could not go on the third revision, but I revised those topics which I had uh, left for doubt or which I had not been so confident about in the first two revisions.
Okay. So you revise them in the third revision.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And something specific about law, like how did you go about law? Because it's a theory subject. So how did you study law?
For law per se, I can say that I studied from the textbook which was provided by you. I am not a kind of person who has a habit of studying what others provide. I read something and I understand that and I write it in my own words. So
Correct.
that helps me to retain it.
Okay.
Some other people have different approach. They do study from other notes as well, but that does not work for me since childhood. So I was like, अभी experiment करना नहीं है.
नहीं,
तो
correct,
जो चल रहा है इतने टाइम से let that only go. I used to
correct,
study. I used to mark in that things. I used to make examples for topics like Indian Contract Act, Negotiable Instruments Act, and I used to remember those examples so that the concept fits in my head. Even if the provision, even if the section number, I do not remember, at least the concept is well stuck in my head
clear,
so that I
correct.
can reproduce it. And
Okay.
then you had provided a book of MTP and RTP's past paper questions. So
Consolidated,
I,
yes.
yeah, consolidated a book for that. So I went through that book as many times as I could, and I understood that there are a few topics which have been asked repeatedly over a period of time.
Correct,
So those sections cannot be left. Left तो कुछ भी leave तो कुछ भी नहीं करना था law में.
correct,
But
correct,
those sections need to be given more time and need to be mugged up thoroughly so that if they are asked, there is no scope for the examiner to deduct any mark.
correct,
So
correct,
that question with the section number, where possible with the subsection number also had done.
correct,
For other topics of Companies Act, I divided again, like for practical subjects, there are chapters like management and administration, auditors, and prospectus and allotment. Wala chapters, they needed more emphasis because they have been questions which have been twisted on the same question in different languages.
correct,
They have been asking
correct.
over a period of time.
Yes,
So share capital and debentures,
correct,
and
correct,
then where there were amendments, CSR, those subtopics also, NFRA,
correct,
they have been asking MCQ from that question. So I used to
correct.
study those topics again and again.
Okay,
Uh, then there were you used to make us draw the charts in our
correct,
notebooks.
correct,
So a topic which I had studied today in the morning, like I used to study law in the morning, being a theory subject, I used to think कि ये morning में याद रहता है
correct,
ज़्यादा.
correct, correct,
So by and then I used to take up a different subject in during the afternoon and again a different subject in the evening. So
okay.
in order to make sure that जो morning में पढ़ा हुआ है वो कल morning में याद रहे, I used to study those charts for
Charts,
15-20 minutes at night before sleeping.
very
So
nice,
that
very
helped me to revise what I had studied in the
studied,
morning
correct,
and as well as clear my concepts also. Somewhere limit भूल जाते थे, वो days में confusion हो जाता था. While studying
correct,
from the book,
correct.
वो 30 days का है, 60 days का है, उसमें confusion ना डालते. But जब chart से पढ़ते हैं, वो अच्छे से याद रहता है.
Clearly याद हो जाता है, correct.
Yes,
And did you write papers for law, like before
yes, I did write.
mock papers for?
Yes.
And
For
that
every
helped you
subject I had
for
written.
every. Okay.
Yeah, what writing mock papers helped me in time management. My first mock, I remember, I had cried because मेरे साथ पहले कभी ऐसा नहीं हुआ था कि मुझे पेपर छोड़ना पड़ा. Never it had happened. Not even
Correct.
till foundation it had happened. But
Correct.
first paper which I wrote for accounts, I had to leave that paper also.
Correct.
20 marks jitna I had to leave. So
Correct.
that was when that
Scary.
panic struck
Yeah.
me कि ये चीज नहीं चलेगा. If I leave 20 marks, then मेरा 80 marks
Score
में से
कम हो जाएगा.
मुझे
Correct.
60 लाना ज्यादा difficult हो जाएगा.
Correct. Correct.
So
Correct.
again, in law paper also, I could not write the MCQ part. I had to like leave on some MCQs. So
Correct.
I decided कि नहीं, कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा. Preparation में change करना है या thinking एक approach change करना पड़ेगा in writing the answer. So that
Correct.
is when I gave the second mock. And in second mock, fortunately, I did not leave anything.
Yeah.
Not I left for a few papers like, but that from 20 I came to 5 marks, leaving 5 mark of answer.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I was like,
Correct.
अगर हाँ ठीक है यहाँ पे 5 छोड़ा है तो हो सकता है एग्जाम में एटलीस्ट 100 मार्क का अटेम्प्ट कर पाऊँ.
हो जाएगा. हाँ.
So
Correct. Just a second, I think. Yeah. So actually the thing between foundation and inter is that inter में portion इतना ज़्यादा बढ़ जाता है. The portion is so vast, and if you don't practice, no, then like in foundation it's still something which is manageable. But when you go to inter, if you have not written a mock test paper, then the exam question paper will become like a mock test paper, and then there's no, you don't have that scope to screw up there. So you have to write mock test paper, because that will help you understand what you remember, where you are going wrong, whether it's the time that you are not getting, like you're unable to finish the paper, or you are not understanding the concepts, or you're not able to answer MCQs, or you're not able to solve the sum practically. Though you may feel that I've seen this sum, but you are unable to solve because there's not enough practice. So when you solve papers before your examination, at least one test series, then you will feel that okay, then you will have an idea of what to expect in the exam paper. Otherwise it may come as a rude shock if you've not kind of practiced test series or written any paper before your examination. And what I wanted to ask you is, like, how did your day look like how was the day? What time did you get up? What did you do? Like, how many subjects did you do in a day?
one thing that got interrupted by speaking about the mock test paper also,
Yeah.
before I answer what you asked me
Okay.
right now. The mock test paper helps us to decide the flow of paper also. There are
Correct. Correct.
for paper number 4 we have DT and GST. For paper number 7 we have EIS SM, and for paper number 8 we have FM and ECO.
Correct.
So when we practice it, we understand that जरूरी नहीं है कि जिस फ्लो में क्वेश्चन पेपर आया है उसी में हमें आंसर करना है. We
Correct.
can manage while reading the question paper. We understand that no, sometimes SM is easier. We can attempt SM. We can write better answers in SM as compared to EIS, or vice versa. For
Correct.
DTGST also, in DTGST we have MCQs for direct tax, and GST we have theory questions and practical questions for direct tax and GST.
Correct.
So writing mock test helped me to decide the flow, so that this helped me in turn this helped me in exam. I did not waste time on thinking कि मैं पहले
Thinking.
क्या करूँ.
Correct.
वरना
Correct.
वो 15 minutes जो क्वेश्चन पेपर मिलता है, मोस्टली पीपल स्पेंड that 15 minutes in
Thinking.
deciding हम स्टार्ट कहाँ से करें
कहाँ से
पेपर को.
करें? Yeah, here
But
you
I
know
was
what I
prepared
have to
कि
do.
हाँ
Correct.
कि I have to start from this question, and then this was my flow.
Correct.
So that
Correct.
15 minutes it got saved, and I could write a 15 minutes से तो क्या कुछ नहीं कर सकते.
Correct. Correct.
We
Correct.
can read a question, we can answer that question, and we can check that question.
Correct, correct. That's a very important point that you said, that, it helps you in deciding the flow, which will save a lot of time in the examination, and that will help you complete your paper also, because now you know
Yes.
exactly, you're clear in your mind what you have to write. Correct. And your day.
Yeah.
How
So
did it?
initially when I had lectures, I used to wake up around 7:30,
Okay.
and then after the routine, I used to study a theory subject, and Before that, I used to revise what was taught the day before, and then study the subject, study that same topic, mark
Okay.
whatever was important, mark any doubt if I had,
Okay.
and that was till lunch. Post lunch, we had the lectures. So once the
Yeah.
lectures got over, I took a small break.
Okay.
After my, I used to do like I used to either go for a walk, talk to any friend of mine, have dinner, and then initially April May तक तो ठीक था ऐसा, अब रात को वापस नहीं पढ़ना है.
हाँ.
But then once like we were like up closer to getting our portion getting completed, I
Yeah.
started studying at night also, and then till 10
Correct.
I used to study again. Maybe I used to study the topic that was taught. I used to finish off the homework and everything so that nothing is left for the next day. And then
Correct.
the entire next morning was dedicated to self study only.
Correct.
Once the portion got over, August 17, as I mentioned earlier, so I used to wake up a bit early, around 6:37. Once my daily routine got over, I used to study a theory subject for 3 hours, and
Okay.
approx 10 till breakfast I used to finish up that subject. And post breakfast again I took a practical subject.
Hmm.
Till lunchtime I used to study that, and again maybe after a small nap I used to
Okay.
study a theory subject and then a practical subject again. I am
Okay.
not the kind of person who can study one subject for an entire
Entire
day.
day.
So I
Correct.
used to
Correct.
divide it in 4 subjects, and
Okay.
then slowly from at night also from 10 it went to 10:30, 10:30, 11. 11 got extended to 12 also, and
Okay.
then as the panic started hitting
Setting
me,
in.
it
Yeah.
got extended to 2 also. So on some
Okay.
days there was like night, I used to pull till 2 a.m. in the night,
Nice.
morning,
Hmm.
whatever.
Correct. The hard
And
work
then
you've
that
put in clearly shows in your result, and the amazing scores that you've got in the papers is really, really nice. Uh, Tell me one thing, how did you manage social media? Because social media is something which is kind of creating a havoc in everyone's life, because you sit down and you start scrolling and you never know, like 1 hour is almost gone. So how did you manage social media distraction while you were studying?
like we've been writing essays on social media, a boon or a bane. So
Correct.
I knew that नहीं अभी तो बेन ही है वो, इससे
Correct.
थोड़ा जितना दूर रहना है उतना ही अच्छा है.
हाँ.
And all of my friends were partying. Like there was not a single person who did, because there are I have friends from different backgrounds, from different areas also, and none
Correct.
of them were doing CA.
See, हाँ.
हाँ, so I had no motivation from there. Social media से कोई motivation नहीं था.
हाँ.
So I knew कि exam time पे तो नहीं करना है. So
Correct.
again, in order to practice that, also I had to do something beforehand, and I
Hmm.
had set a timer in my phone for all the social media. And
Okay.
ये चीज I had decided कि वो timer अगर हो गया तो उससे exceed नहीं करना है. We have an option like ignore the
To
timer or
exceed.
to accept it.
Correct. Correct.
So I was
Correct.
like, this is not to be exceeded.
Hmm.
And eventually I went on to deleting the apps as well. So exam
Okay.
time पे just after the exam I used to come 15 minutes I used to use from my mom's phone, 15 to
हाँ.
20 minutes बस उतना
हाँ.
ही करना था. बाकी I did not use social media for almost 1 month.
Sure. How much time did you set every day? 1 hour? Half an hour?
One and a half hour for all of them totally.
Everything inclusive. That is fair enough. उतना तो थोड़ा तो break चाहिए होता है.
But बाद में ऐसा हो जाता है मैम कि we do not have anything to do. Like 1 month तक वो timer भी आता रहा, उसके बाद तो वो timer 1.5 hour भी नहीं हो रहा था.
हाँ.
Because
Correct.
we start prioritizing things ourselves. We
Correct.
understand कि no,
Correct.
social media पे कुछ चल नहीं रहा है, वो छूट भी गया तो it will not
You'll
impact our
not
lives.
miss
But
out on
ये portion
anything.
छूटा तो it will cost us 6 months.
Correct, correct, correct. I always tell my students that when you are preparing for CA, you don't have to be someone who is extraordinarily intelligent. ऐसा कोई अपने को rocket science आना चाहिए, ऐसा कुछ है नहीं. But you have to be someone who is dedicated and who is sincere. If you're sincere in your studies, you are going to clear the exam. It is not, so it is a difficult exam, but it is not so difficult that you can't crack it. You just have to be very, very sincere and dedicated to your studies, and then it is something that you can easily clear. Correct? Easily
Yes.
तो नहीं पता है, but clear हो जाएगा.
हाँ, like
Difficult
वो
है but हो
discipline
जाएगा.
चाहिए more
Discipline
than
चाहिए.
anything,
Correct.
discipline is important while studying also. And
Correct.
I was not like मैं कहीं नहीं जाती थी. I also used to go out also. But then
Correct.
again there was also a stipulated time for recreation. कि हाँ
Correct.
अगर सैटरडे गए, सैटरडे अगर पूरा बाहर भी निकला है, तो संडे फिर टाइम पास नहीं होना चाहिए.
नहीं हो
संडे वो
सकता है.
सैटरडे का तो कवर अप करना ही है एंड संडे का पढ़ना
संडे
है.
का भी करने का है.
लाइक
करेक्ट.
दैट.
Correct. Correct. What, according to me, you've done a very good job in terms of the marks that you've got. But what do you personally feel you could have done differently? Like sometimes when you just sit back, तो ऐसे लगता है ना, हाँ, this is something I could have done differently, तो और अच्छा score होता था. तो what is that thing that you feel that you could have done differently?
Definitely, there is like even after scoring so much, there is a small regret.
Okay.
कि GST and economics, both these subjects are for 40 marks only in our exam.
Correct.
And I was like कि हाँ चलो 40 मार्क तो है, कर लेंगे कर लेंगे. And this कर लेंगे attitude of mine costed me sleepless nights for real. Even during the exam, I had not slept properly before these two papers because there were concepts which were left unattended by me, and at the last moment I had to read them, understand them, and make sure कि अगर कल पेपर में आ गया तो मैं लिख पाऊँ. And
Correct.
I had to leave a few topics which was disheartening for me because I thought कि नहीं एग्जाम तक तो कर ही लेंगे.
हाँ.
बट वो
हाँ.
एग्जाम तक भी अपेरेंटली हुआ नहीं बिकॉज
हुआ
कभी पहले
है.
पढ़ा ही नहीं था.
Correct.
तो उस दिन समझने में डिफिकल्टी हो रही थी.
हाँ,
एंड देन
because end में there's a
एग्जाम के
pressure, no? Correct.
या देयर इज ऑलरेडी कि हमने जो पढ़ा है उसको रिवाइज करें या अभी
Right.
नया पढ़ने बैठे.
Correct.
एंड
Correct.
फिर एग्जाम पेपर में भी वो अनफॉर्चुनेटली पूछ लिया था. सो आई वाज लाइक
Correct.
काश ये पढ़ लिया होता, एटलीस्ट अटेम्प्ट कर लेती तो हाँ जहाँ मुझे 73 आया वहाँ थोड़ा और
ज्यादा.
ज्यादा आ जाता
और
तो
ज्यादा.
रैंक ऊपर हो जाती.
और ऊपर हो जाते थे.
हाँ
करेक्ट.
और
वी हैव
ऊपर हो
फाइनल
जाती.
देयर ना, तो अभी है स्कोप और एक रैंक के लिए.
होपफुली हाँ ऊपर वाली रैंक आए.
करेक्ट. करेक्ट. आएगा आएगा. And lastly, what are your future plans? What are you planning? What do you want to do? Where do you want to do your articleship? Or what are you thinking about the next steps before your final?
So for articleship, I've applied at Big Four, and there's a small offer from KPMG which I
Okay.
have opted
Okay.
for.
Okay.
They'll be sending the formalities and everything.
Okay.
And as of now, I want to focus on CA final itself, and I
Correct.
want to clear that as well in first attempt, hopefully with a rank.
Yes.
So
We
because
hope the
this time
same.
I am aiming like for CA Inter, I did not aim. That
Correct.
time my goal was to clear both the
Clear.
groups and
Correct.
a few subjects exemption. But this time I am aiming at a rank for CA final.
Correct.
So that is it. And then probably I'll pursue MBA from
MBA.
a B school, a reputed B school.
Nice. I'm sure you'll achieve whatever you are planning to achieve, all because you are really very sincere. She's one of the students who was so sincere. She would study every day. Like I always tell my students, whenever you come for the class, revise everything that's done previously. You always used to revise and come, and you had your doubts, you had your answers, everything used to be there. So with your sincerity and dedication, we really hope that you also score a rank in CA final and you achieve whatever you're planning to achieve. Thank you so much for giving your time. You have shared some really great tips for the students, and I am sure it's going to really help the students who are appearing for the May 23, November 23 examination. So thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk here.
Thank you.